and this is focused on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Bokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Ooh. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus.
Hello, all you there in Focus of Liberia land. Once again, this is your breaking news episode for today, April 11, 2024. We've got all kinds of juicy breaking news for you. And I will be joined by a couple of local reporters. I'm looking for Jeremiah Mulbah and Prince Mulbah to join us today. But in the meantime, we will begin to talk about what is going on in our beloved country. I'm also hoping the unrepentant sedition, Mr. Jerome Gaiman, will also join us. Okay, in the news, we've been talking about declaring assets of lately. This has become a concern of Liberians. If we believe that when you're an official, if you're a public official, do you have the right not to declare your assets? If you do declare them, should it be made public? This has been a big issue in the news. If you're going to declare your assets, should it be public? And of course, the reason for asset declaration is to have transparency over the wealth accumulation of our public officials. So one way of keeping track of what thanks for joining, Jeremiah. You got a little background in the noise. You got a little noise in the background. You want to mute until you're ready to talk?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. So the whole reason for asset declaration was to have transparency over the elected officials' finances, so that when they leave office and they have ended their service, it will what they end with and what they came in with will be commensurate with what they earned during the period. Even though we have this law in place, I'm not sure if it has been serving much of a deterrent. For one, not everybody has obliged And even though the president has declared his, but many of his appointees have not. And to make matters worse, recently in the news, there is reportedly a leakage of former President George Weah's assets. It's all over the news and all over public, what we call media, private media, and everything. Now, the Senate it has summoned the LACC boss and the asset recovery appointee to answer questions of how did this breach happen. So this is one of the latest things on the ground now. Assets recovery, declaration, and leakage. Mulbah, what do you have going on there in Monrovia? Tell us, have you heard about this asset leakage breach?
Thank you. I've heard about that. I think it was Moserado County District Number 9 Representative Frank Safogo that did a communication to the House of Representatives, uh, calling on the House to invite the chairperson or the head of the asset recovery team, that's Councilor Edwin Clark Martin. As you may be aware, Councilor Martin was the former chair of the
LACC.
LACC. Yes,
Correct.
so the president did declare his asset, but the asset was not being published. So it has surprised people now to have seen the president assets, the former president assets being published, and it's all on social media. So they want to know as to whether when he served as head of the LACC, it was during his tenure that that particular information got leaked, or the new LACC boss or the acting boss as well. So that communication had been sent to the House of Representatives, and I'm told that he's going to appear before the House next week to answer questions as to uh, how that particular document got to the public space.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. So it is very, very interesting. So has there been other officials now declining from publishing their assets or declaring their assets since that time?
Well, when this government took power, or when this government came to power, there were other people declaring their assets, especially from uh, the legislature. You have uh, Abraham Darius Dillon that declares assets. The current Senate Pro Tempore Yombli Kanga Lauren also did declare her assets. And Nathaniel Mangill, several of them declared their assets, as well as some public officials. But again, uh, the president followed suit,
Mm-hmm.
and there were people that said declaring assets is good, but we want to see, we want to see what was being declared, and that hasn't been done by the president as well since he declares assets. We have seen of heard of publication. The assets have not been published. I don't know whether is asset declaration or publication is confidential. So these are things Liberians continue to say or call, especially on some of the officials. But those from the legislature, they declared their assets were being published, like Senator Dillon declared his assets, and his asset was published. Some of the guys from the House of Representatives as well declared their assets. It were being published. Then you have Benabu Blue Benson district number 17 lawmaker as well declared asset was being published. Schools of other law, but the president did declare his asset, but that wasn't published. It's yet to
Hmm.
be published. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, a lot more to go on this asset declaration saga. And what else? What are the latest news you're getting? The hottest news you're getting from Monrovia right now?
So yesterday, Muslims in Liberia and around the world climax the holy month of Ramadan.
Yes,
As
Eid
you, as you
Mubarak.
may be aware, yeah, as you may be aware, Ramadan is part of the Muslim prayer that they offer to the Almighty Allah. So yesterday, the Grand Mufti, in a special message to Muslims across the country, there was this appeal that he made to President Joseph Boakai. 30%,
Mm-hmm.
30% of Muslims to be appointed in senior position in President Boakai government.
Mm.
That was a call yesterday. Yeah.
We should
Apart
have
from
a
that,
30. Wait now, let get this thing clear. You said the
yeah,
Imam requested that the Muslims make up 30% of the appointed people in the government.
yeah, especially in senior position. He
Hmm.
that was the appeal. He was appealing to the president to ensure that 30% Muslim should be appointed. It's not just ordinary appointment, but it should be in senior position.
Yeah, I agree that everybody should have a proportionate representation. But are Muslims 30% of the people in Liberia?
If you check the population, I think they might not be 30, but the ratio will be like 40 to 60, just like that, with other religion. But he was not just talking about uh,
Mm,
the appointment. He said they are educated Muslims, they are
yeah.
qualified Muslims. So the president should ensure that those educated Muslims, those qualified Muslims, should be given an opportunity, especially in senior position,
Hmm.
not the deputy position, not the assistant position, but they should have
Top
Muslims
position.
serving,
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think
the
we
top
have
position.
seen. I think to give President Boakai credit, I think he has put some in some senior positions in his
Yeah,
government.
yeah,
I think
especially at the port, the National Port Authority. You
correct.
have you have a Muslim that is heading up that place.
Hmm. We have
Yeah.
the NSA, right?
Yes, the NSA.
And then I think we have. So okay, but we have been hearing about declaring the end of Ramadan Day of a holiday in Liberia.
Right.
We also heard that some one or two government
That yeah.
entities even allow their people to go home. So what is the status? Are we going to allow this holiday for the celebrating the Muslim holiday? What you hear on the ground?
Well, that was another call again. Yesterday I have to visit some of the prayer centers. So
Hmm.
there were call as well from some of the imams to the
Hmm.
president to ensure that Muslims should have a holiday, a national holiday. As you may be aware,
Hmm.
Jimmy, this is not the first time Muslims have called for national holiday for them.
Correct.
Even during the reign of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, that call was being made. Uh, Former President George Weah, they made similar call again. President Brakai's administration, they are making this particular call. I think is it's going to be a difficult one because most of the people we have spoken to they have said, what about other religion? Because this is a secular state. Though the country was founded on a Christian principle, but this is a
Mhm.
secular state where you have people practicing religion, different religion. You have the Christian, you have the Muslim, you have the Buddhist, you have the Judaist. So when the Muslim request for holiday, then you have to also grant the Buddhists. You also have to grant the Christian. You also have to grant people with different faith. Maybe the ATR, the African traditional religion. You have to grant them holiday. So these are things people kept saying it's just gonna be a kind of difficult one. But that's a call to raise to the government. And yes, they have said they are very, very serious on that. And they're calling on uh, their kinsmen that are the House of Representatives as at the Senate as well, to ensure that they can put forth that recommendation to the plenary and to try to convince their colleagues so that that can be enacted. But that's the kind of things on ground now. People are saying, but Christians don't have holiday. So when they request for holiday, the other people are going to request, other in the religion too are going to they're going to come up to today and
Yeah,
request for holiday.
I personally think it's a good idea that the Muslims have their day. But what I do notice in Liberia, we have too many holidays. I think we need to condense the holidays now. We have so many holidays. So they're gonna have to. I think for productivity, for the productivity of the nation, holidays and should be voluntary, or anyway, they need to come to they need to revisit it and see how best we can accommodate everybody,
All right.
and see how best it will, you know, help the nation in its productivity and versatility, because we've seen um, a lot of holidays that nothing goes on in the country is shut down, and that's not necessarily what we want to do. So I think we should set up a committee to revisit all of that. What is the other juice and news you got for us from Memorial?
Yeah, just before the other news, like I said yesterday, I have to visit various prayer sites where they had the end of the Ramadan yesterday. So again,
Hmm.
yesterday in district number 17, I visited there, and another imam was preaching, and
Hmm.
he also called on the president to unite the country and stressed that the president, you know, is not really being concerned when it comes to the unity of the country, because uh, after election, one of the priorities of the president should be those who lost the election, those who contested. He should be able to unite all of them, but according to him, that's not happening. And that was an appeal as well to show that the country remain peaceful. The president should take the lead and unite the opposition, the those who are disenchanted, just bring them together, because he said 2023 are gone, and it should be about time that Liberians get together to work for the betterment of the country. So he stressed on that very keenly yesterday.
Yeah, unity is important, but there are things I think we can do to enhance unity. Certain things we can do together. That's a good one. So what else the news there?
And you know the the CSA boss, that's the Civil Service Agency boss, Josiah Joker.
Hmm.
Uh, Yesterday he addressed the press, and according to him, he had been receiving an alarm of threats on
Uh-oh.
his life by some unknown individuals. Remember, we reported that about 40,000 Saver 7 were being
Yes.
placed, yes, to ensure that they can be, they should be able to pass through the rifle channel to regular radar status, or have some dissatisfaction as well. So because of that, according to him, saying he did that pronouncement, there have been threats, some annoying calls, text messages on his life, and he was very serious. He was very serious about that yesterday.
Okay. 1 minute. Keep on going while I got an urgent call coming in. Let me just.
Okay, so want to say welcome again to our viewers, and this is focus on Liberia, and the program is breaking news. So the director of the Civil Service Agency, Mr. Josiah Joker, yesterday expressed sadness about his life. There are some individuals who have decided to, send him some threatening message because there have been this call about some individuals, about 40,000
Yes,
individuals
yes.
to pass.
But he gave them an extension. Welcome, Mr. Gaiman. Thank you for the show. We're talking about the LA, rather the CSA boss, the Civil Service Agency boss, receiving threats on his life after he pronounced that more than 40,000 people have to come forward and verify their existence and their employment. And he just the other day he even announced an extension, a 4-month extension of what they call it, the personal action notice completion. All have to complete it. If you don't complete it, then you risk being dropped from the payroll. I think that's fair enough, because we've been hearing about ghost names from over the various administrations. So this is a good way to clean his slate. But now he's talking about getting threats. How are those threats coming to him? Phone calls or what? Jeremiah, how are they threatening him?
Yes, 2 phone calls. He said unknown, and some text messages as well. He said unknown numbers.
Jerome,
Yes.
what's your take on this? The man won't clean house and he's getting threatened.
When Josiah Joker, is that in the last name Joker? That's what.
Yeah,
That's
Jokai.
what. That's what I call him.
Jokai.
I call him Joker because he has no idea what he's doing. I was able to download all the document relating to the payroll he's talking about. First off the bat, this is a charade. This is a smoke screen. If Josiah Joker, from what I gather here, the previous administration in 2018, they turned the government over to the CDC at 70,000 total employment. 70,000. He's claiming that CDC may have hired 40,000 people illegally. So if you add 40,000 illegal hiree or improper hiree to 70,000, you should have a total employment of 110,000 employees on her government payroll. As of yesterday, when I pulled it up, they said the government payroll now has a total of 67,000 employees. If 2018, the total employment was 70,000. In 2024, they turned the government over to you at 67,000. There is no way that the previous government had employed 40,000 illegal or irregular folks. Now, let me explain what I saw. Josiah Joker is trying, this is a small screen. If you want to clean the payroll to get rid of people you don't like, to bring in your own people, this is how you do it. You tell folks to come in and do X, Y, Z. First of all, I spoke to somebody in Maryland County. The gentleman said when they began the payroll regularization, there were two places that you had to go to regularize yourself, to go through the PAM. You had to go to Benson Street, or you have to go to the ministerial complex in Congo Town. The whole nation had only two places to go to do the regularization of their pay. Now, according to this guy, the government had the past united government had three kinds of payroll. The civil service agency is responsible for about 35,000 employees. Everybody outside of the civil service they consider irregular because it's propaganda. Now let's look at those who are not part of the civil service. The National Police Force is not part of the civil service. The military is not part of the civil service. Department of Immigration are not part of the civil service. The community colleges and universities are not part of the civil service. So where did he come from with this thing that they got about 40,000 folks that are not part of the civil service agency that were hired either illegally or quasi-hiring? Where did he get that number from? And why Josiah Joker is not making the clarity that the CSA does not have jurisdiction over the military, over the police, over the community colleges. All of these people, they are outside the CSA. So for him to come out and say, everybody should come out and regularize themselves within 4 months. They began this thing in 2006. So when CDC came in, from what I understand, Mr. Tue and the CSA decided that they were going to streamline all the different payrolls that Unity Party had to only 2. And to do that, everybody would have to be regularized. And the way to do that would be to find some kind of electronic, they added a system called EPAM. That is wherever you are Tubman University, wherever you are, and you have access to internet. Instead of coming to Monrovia to do that, you can do it from where you are, and it will be centrally logged and verified. This is the system that is in place now. There are people who have their employment letters, they got their social security card, their pay stuff shows that they are deducting pay, they're deducting social security from them. So how can you say a man who has his employment letter, he's been paying his taxes to North Carolina, how now can you say these people are irregular, they are illegally hired? These people went through the processes. Third, the Constitution, the system of Liberia gave every agency the power to do their own separate hiring through their own HR system. So the autonomous agencies, NOSCAR, NOCAR, and Maritime, these people have their own separate hiring system. So what they need to do is to consolidate why the government, CSA does not have the authority to hire for these folks because they are autonomous agencies. But CSA has to have a coordinated effort that all of these people be they be cataloged as employees of the government, even though they are separate entities.
Yeah, yeah, but Mr. Gimmer,
the clarity that all of these people here are talking about, they do not fall under the jurisdiction of the CSA, like the military.
Yeah, but Mr. Gimmer, 1 minute, please. As what I understood, by one or two head of agencies and ministries have said that they don't know the people that are on their payrolls. They have not been able to verify who they are. But for it not to look like a witch hunt for seditions or somebody, they handed that task over to the CSA, the Civil Service Agency, so it would be general and wouldn't be looking like they're trying to get rid of targeting certain people.
Yeah, but Mr. Eastman, this is what we are talking about. You see, this is why we say it's illegal, and this guy has no clue what he's talking about. These autonomous agencies were created by an act. It's a law. For anything that you're trying to do to happen, it has to be done through an act. The maritime, these are autonomous agencies. They are separate, but they were set up by an act. The military, the police, these are all separate entities. For you to say now you want to usurp the responsibility of the agent, it has to be done through an act. These we're not talking about just going out here and doing things like they're trying to do with the tenure people. The tenure positions were done by an act instituted by the Unity Party. For you to undo that, you have to undo that through another act. You can't just come up and say you're going to do away with tenure position when you created an act legally. It's a statute. It was passed. It's a law. If you don't want that law, you have to repeal it. So nobody can tell you. Remember, people who are talking.
I see where, right. I see where your angle. In other words, there has to be some legislation.
Obviously, like the military
will empower the CSA for those who.
They try the same thing with the NSA. We have known, even in the United States, the NSA cannot be audited as regular agencies do because of national security and by what they do. So by coming out right off the gate and say we're going to audit the NSA, you knew they were going to run into legal issues, and all of a sudden they had to withdraw that and say we can't do that. Like you cannot put the military under the CSA. You can't put the police under the CSA. You can't put maritime under CSA. You can't do these autonomous agencies. For that to happen, it has to be through the legislature. So you appoint a new guy at this agency. He's a rescue father. He was sent there, and here we are. There are people being laid off because they are known to have affiliated, campaign, or member of the CDC. So you are saying all of these people, under the guise of regularization, you got 40,000 people. To regularize 40,000, if it's true, 40,000 people, it would take years. And you are telling us that in 90 days, something that you didn't do in 12 years, because it's so voluminous.
Right.
So what they have done, all of these people, they went through their agencies, they filled out the applications, they got their green letters, they went to the training, they went to orientations, they got the ID card, they got social security card, they are paying through NARCO, they've been deducted, social security retirement being deducted from their pay. How can you say these people are illegal?
Very good. And I get what you're saying. So it looks like this whole exercise will not get any teeth until the Senate takes action.
If the president, if this is what they want to do, they just have to do it the right way. Just like the Supreme Court just stopped the asset recovery from doing it their way. You have to go back to square one and do it legally. Go through the court system, get your warrant, get your rate, and all of those things, and show proper cause, and then you go from there. That's how it goes. You cannot just get up and say, well, if somebody brought to my attention that Jimmy Eastman had this mansion over here, he has to prove to us. We will take the mansion, he can prove to us. That's not how the legal system works in our country. You are innocent until proven guilty, and the burden of proof is upon the state. This is where we are. Okay, Joker said 40,000. Don't be surprised. 3-4 months from now, he's going to come and say, well, we have cleaned the system. Out of the 40,000, 20,000 were illegal. And we're going to replace those 20,000 with regular folks, which we know will be all unity partisans that worked, that want to work, and they need to work. And that's how it's going to, he was going to come out later and say, we out of 40,000, this is what we got, and the system is clean. No, that's not how it works. So this is more than meets the eye. Joe Carter is going out. He won't tell you what's the total payroll now. If it was 70,000 and these people brought on 40,000, it shouldn't be 67,000. It should be 110,000. So the critical mind need to ask these questions. Yeah, it is something that everybody can verify. The number is very clear, even from the regular lay person. If we brought on 40,000, when you came over, when you left 70,000. 40,000 added to 70,000, it's 110,000. But now you said the total payroll is 67,000. Something is amiss here. So actually, the previous administration might have cut 3,000 jobs. How did they do that? This is another contention that was in the air yesterday was that in President Weah's last term, he hired a lot of folks. And the folks came over and said, Mr. Joker, this is how it works. Everybody, let's say every student, everyone that got scholarship from the government that went abroad, they could not be on the government payroll while they were abroad. They had to have a letter of excuse. When you graduate, you come back, your job should be waiting for you. So in December, November, and December of 2023, there were 123 kids members that graduated from the different universities around the world came, and they were placed on they are not new hire. These people were reinstated to their positions. And because now they got masters, they got advanced degree, not only are they going to be placed on back to their pay, but the new administration now has to look after what we're talking about, elevated compensation. If I were working, making $300 a month as a bachelor's degree, and I'm going abroad, advance myself, I'm coming back, and I have a master's degree, my education has to commensurate with my pay. So the new administration now has to find money to either raise these people or work out something with them. You Jimmy, you came from University of Liberia.
Mr. Gaiman, I gotta stop you right in your tracks right there, because you own a company and you employ several different kind of people at different leverages. You and I both know we should not pay you by your degree, but pay you by what you do. Pay you by your contribution. If you got a master's degree and you open in the door for people to come in, or you sitting to the reception desk, then we will pay you because you get a master's degree. You pay people by their contribution to the production in the company. This is something we got to get out of the minds of in Liberia, that we pay people because they got a master's degree and they can't do nothing with it. I know some people who did masters and they only copied what other people did. They cannot put it to use. I'm gonna pay you for what? Please,
we all agree. You and I have been talking this for the past 10 years. We've been talking about this. You know, it is now what we call policy. Every company or the country should have a policy where we can say performance review, right? In your job, they do performance review at the end of every year. They do
every time, twice a year,
right? And usually the way we do it in our company is we give you a thick book. You do your own personal review, right? Give yourself all the grades, everything, rate yourself. Then you bring it. Our independent group here will do their review based on observation and the calculus and everything else. Then we look at it and we say, Mr. Eastman, when you're talking about productivity, you gave yourself 8. Based on our record here, we gave you 4. And you're going to say why. We say, first of all, your tardiness. You keep to work late. Let's say in the past 90 days, you keep to work late 60 times. You called off 20 times. You took sick days. So out of 90 working days, you actually worked 60. So you took off 30 days where you were unproductive. So if we had 90 days, right? And you took out 30, that 30%, 100 days, you took out 30, that 30% of your productivity, 30% of your productivity is 0. You contributed nothing to it. So what we're going to do now is look at the 70 days that you came to work. What did you do? Out of the 70 days, you came to work 10 days late. So now we're down to 60. So we are now saying your performance review based on what we are looking at, we can only give you 4 because you performed terribly this gone quarter. We don't just say because you have a PhD, so you get a raise automatically. No. So what they don't have in Liberia is the performance review, an honest performance review. Because from the time we were growing up, the guys would boast, "Oh, I'm the boss. I just go sign in and sign out." We used to hear that word back then when we were young. It is still going on today. You go to Liberia, you find a department head with 4 cell phones. He has a security, he has a driver, he got bear handler, and he got a cheerleader behind him everywhere he goes. Absolutely nothing doing. So it is our policy and the implementations of our policies. We have to have a legitimate, measurable outcome, goals by independent people, not right. Jerome Gamer is a friend of Jimmy Eastman and he go grade Jimmy Eastman. No, we need an independent, maybe an outside consultant.
It should also be able to be shown in your amount of work you've done over the, we in back home, our people beat us over. I get PhD, boo. I get PhD. Yep. So they sit down as if they are deserving of high position and high pay. But you and I both know PhD, where we are in, when you're in a very productive, advanced society where people have to work all the time, a PhD is doing work in a laboratory or in a research.
It's a research degree, a teaching degree.
Your PhD in functioning in industry, in companies, in fact, got no holler any use, holler any application. Nope. So we don't need PhDs, but we are impressed by PhDs and they do nothing for us. We have to change that Liberian mentality. See, when you evaluate somebody what they are able to do, if that person not able to do anything and they got 10 degrees, they don't deserve anything. They have to show us that they can produce, they can do things better. And when we have and that goes all over, minister or director or and supervisor or street cleaner or, you have to produce, and if you're not producing nothing, then we need to move you from the position and stop this PhD. I get degree, and I can't do nothing. We have to stop this curse.
It's a culture that is so detrimental. You saw when George Weah became president, he went all over the place. They were conferring doctorate degrees on him, and he was being called doctor. When Joseph Walker came in, the same thing. He went to the United Methodist University to go speak at the commencement. They put a robe on him. They gave him an honorary PhD. So now he's doctor. This is what we are talking about that is killing our society. We are consumed by title, not performance, but title.
Thank
Like
you.
you said, PhD in the United States is a research and teaching degree. It is not a place where you go and say, I want to be president of the Baltimore Liberian Community Association. I got a PhD, so I'm the best qualified. That's how Liberian people look at it. So you mention masters and PhD, they say, oh, the man is qualified, the man is qualified. That's how they that's why they call qualification. Even if you have not put a day, let's say you spend your whole life going to school, you have never worked anywhere.
Thank you.
You get a PhD, when you come, they make you department chair.
And you don't know what to do.
Nothing.
Because you are never working.
You become minister. And then they take their degrees and their qualification, beating you on the head with it and say, the man has a PhD, he's qualified.
Yeah.
Can't do anything.
Yeah.
So
and you know what who suffer? And you know who suffer when you do that?
The people.
The company, the economy suffer because the man can't do anything. He will suppress the whole industry. It will not be able to move because he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to innovate. He doesn't know how to bring it to the next level. The man who know how to bring it to the next level, you think the man who get paper can do it. If that man cannot bring the company up, if he cannot improve the industry, then we don't need his degree. We need his productivity, what he can do. You know what? You know when I used to go to people's houses as a technician. Sometimes when I go there, I have done some analytics, and I kind of know what's wrong with them, but I just go to the house to verify. And in sometimes 5 minutes, I'm writing them a bill for $150, and they say, "Is your problem fixed? Is the thing fixed?" I say, "It's fixed." They say, "What was it?" "Oh," I say, "It just required a certain adjustment and a changing of a new part." And they said, "What? So I'm owe you for $150 for 5-minute work?" I said, "You're not paying me for
the 5-minute work. You pay me for knowing what to do in 5 minutes.
Thank you. You pay me for what? For what I know. You're not paying me for what I do."
Because you've been trying to fix it for a whole year. You can't get it fixed. A whole year, and I did it in 5. So
thank you. I know what to do. That why. So that's how it should be back home. But let's segue somewhere else. Your cousin has been in the news a lot, Representative Yeka Koluba.
Yes.
But one of the representatives have frowned on the picture that has been circulating with this young lady on the picture. First of all, there's no evidence that representative had any kind of relationship or anything more than his standing there with a woman. But yet, this picture has been circulating, insinuating that the honorable is friendly with obviously a youth or somebody underage. I think that is terrible that we will stoop so low. So the Amenza, Representative Menza of Bone County District 6, she condemns it as well, and she demands that an apology is brokered by these people who have been doing that. What's your take on using a picture like that to defame, anybody, especially using a minor picture?
Look, this is what our politics have come to. Yeka Koluba, when he was defaming, he was abusing everybody, he and Prophet Key, the past 6 years, nobody said anything. In fact, they were cheering squad There were people urging him to continue. Now that he has flipped the switch, they are trying to now discredit him in every way possible. First, they began to say he needed to see a psychiatrist. They said he was crazy. He himself said it. He said, Joseph Boyka now told me that I'm crazy. When I was here cursing Joey's mom, now the vice president, Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, all of these people, you were cussing them. Not only did they cheer me on, but they actually came into my district and registered to make sure that I win. And I won with a landslide.
Thank you.
Now that I am talking the same thing about the Rokish and what I perceive as corruption now, they say I am crazy. Okay, the craziness have not, that particular propaganda have not worked on Yeke Koluba. So they decided to do the unthinkable. These are people who claim to be people of integrity, people, family people. And you are a family man. Will you, man, the last time we said they have video of men having their salacious activities in the privacy of their home, and people take the picture, we condemn those things as long as they are two consenting adults and they in the privacy of wherever they are. Nobody has the right to not only film it, but to have it published. And with AI now available, Mr. Eastman, they could take your face and my face.
Oh, yes.
And put it on somebody's body seamlessly. In fact, now
Yes.
the new AI that I saw, the gentleman, I think he was from Holland yesterday on National Public Radio. The AI make him speak 19 different languages in the Middle East and Asia. All he got to do is just move his lips. And it is his voice. It sounds like him. I mean, everything, the pronunciation, everything. So if somebody were cussing your mind in Bassa, you say, oh, man, Jimmy can't cuss my mind in Lofa, or because, I mean, in Bandi or Gisi because he's from Bassa. When you put that AI on, you will hear Jimmy cussing somebody's mind in Bandi or in Madingo or in something. And you will say, I heard him say it, he did it, I can show you, and you will see it. So what I'm saying here is, anybody who wanted to discredit this man by taking the photo of a minor, and I don't want to hear anything about where she's in school, you don't know how old she is. We assume that anybody in school, K through 12, is a minor. There's nowhere in Liberia where Jimmy Eastman is going to go back to the 12th grade and we say he's a minor. The child is a minor, and it was in a public space. It was in a public space. It's not like we got him in a compromising position. You know, it was a police thing where, you know, he'd been known to be a pedophile. And he had the little girl, so they set up a sting and busted him. That's not what it was. It was somebody vindictive that wanted to discredit this man. Did this at the detriment of a child. That's the point.
That's the point. How low can we stoop? Is it correct?
No, it's not. It's not legally correct. It's not morally correct, because I think for a child, if that child parents, because the gentleman who took the picture, I heard him on several radio stations boasting that he did that and XYZ. If it's true that it is he, then the Lord need to take its course. Seriously. That person need to be brought in. Real quick, something else that caught my attention was another lawmaker saying that Yeke Koluba should be expelled or suspended.
Yes, they call for investigation to investigate the ethical misconduct of.
Yes. Can you imagine a lawmaker, another lawmaker who has been a part of the legislator, well, he wasn't in the House at the time, but as a politician, I am sure he followed this when they decriminalized free speech and the Camara Act. No matter how vile it is, I can say what I feel about this person, that person, as long as I don't accuse the person of something illegal that I cannot prove. But by me telling you, you're man crazy, you stupid, you don't look good, that is not breaking the law. If I said that XYZ is a pedophile and I put it in the public domain, now I have crossed the line because now I have to prove that this person is molesting children and all of that. If I can tell you, Jimmy, you don't look good and I don't like you, and you can't sue me. That's my personal opinion. But if I tell you that you are a murderer,
when you accuse somebody of a crime,
that's correct.
That would be a defamation.
Seriously, now that is not protected.
Yes, and that person will incur injury due to that defamation.
That's correct.
Then they can sue you for that. I agree.
And this is where I wonder this. But you see, in politics, everybody wants to get known at the expense of somebody else. Right. I didn't know who this lawmaker was, but because of the crazy thing now, everybody knows him, everybody put him, everybody interview him, knowing very well. He sounded like a very intelligent guy. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows, he knew very well that this thing wasn't going anywhere. But at least they put him on the front pages of all the talk shows. Another thing that we need to talk about that is breaking is that the House has summoned, I think it's the LACC boss, for what appears to be the House summoned current and former LACC.
Yeah, we touched that story when you hadn't gotten on. That was the first story.
Great. Yes. So when you look at these things, these are lawmakers who are doing something based on a specific violation. But you cannot, I mean, you got proof in this one that somebody leaked people private information.
Yes, they leaked the president information.
And I was surprised that a friend of mine, very well, we say, we talk about education, educated guy from the Northeast, now working in the government. And he told me, I called him, I said, but this is terrible. He said, the man is a public figure, so, it doesn't matter. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but, let talk so, Mr. Gaiman. I agree. The law does not say you say you have to declare your assets.
That's the law. That's correct.
But it doesn't say you have to make them public.
That's correct.
I agree. But let's revisit the whole purpose of this law. The purpose of the law was for transparency, a way of tracking the gains of our public servants when they hold higher positions, to make sure it is what we see them, their wealth at the end of their term is commensurate with what they had before and what they could have earned during that period. Okay, that's the whole purpose. But if you hide it, if you don't declare it, what good is it then?
But this is what we are talking about, Mr. Eastman. These people in the New Republic, we talk about 2006 when they came in, they passed this law. And you and I know, if you don't like the law, repeal and change it. You cannot bypass the law because you don't like it. In fact, you made this law to protect yourself. 1986, when they were working on the new constitution, when Amos Sawyer and these people were putting in these outrageous years, 9 years for senators, that year for this person, that year. Right. People said it, that this is unheard of. Amos Sawyer and their group said, the reason we're doing this is to avoid, the country is broke, we don't have money to be having election every 2 years. like they do in the United States, or every 6 years for Senate. So we just do this. They thought it was just going to be for them. I'm talking about the ruling class.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about this had nothing to do with name, Congo country. We're talking about ruling class, people who
Ruling, yeah, those who in the country. I get you.
So now here you are, you got a man that Yeke Koluba Nakami, and the law applies. He got 6 years. Somebody saying, are we going to go through this way? This man just got re-elected.
Another 6 more years.
Yeah, yes. This man got 5.5 more years. Are you kidding me? So the thin rope that they tried that was sort of hang bagon is now hanging monkey and hanging everything that comes along. You don't like the law, repeal the law. Repeal the law, don't bypass the law.
Refine the law. You know, I agree with you. I agree with you there. That, but they will not do it because if it doesn't work in their favor. They have a way of enacting laws that do not affect the purpose for which they were enacted. No. They have to be sincere, and if something needs to be tweaked, it needs to be fixed, then they have to go back and fix it. It's not hard. That's the reason why they say law is a living document.
That's correct. And you know, and I told you this story before 1,000 times. In 2006, Dr. G. Franklin Holt, my pastor at the AME Church, called me. He was president of Monroe College. AME University. He called me and called Charles Bromsky. He said, Jerome, you need to support your brother. And we met. I said, Bromsky, I will support you on one condition, that you try your best to change the unitary, all-powerful presidency in Liberia so we can have a quasi or federal system. And I told him why I think the unitary system has failed. It has not helped. The man looked me in the face and said, it is true that a unitary system have not worked. He said, because those who have run it have not run it well. He said, but when I get there, you will see how it was intended to be run and you will love it. I'm saying this to say, when you ask people to divest power from themselves, beginning with themselves, nobody wants to do it. He said everybody up from J.J. Rowell to where we are, they all have failed because they didn't know what they were doing. But Charles Bronson, when I get there. So I said, Charles, the Basel people say if you find 10 drunk men crossing a river, and the first one jumping, he didn't get out. The second one jumping there, all the way to number 9, and you number 10, and you will run. And you think the 9 people that got there were stupid, but you will cross that river with all the alligator eating there in there, then something is wrong with you. I said, Mr. Bronsky, I can't support you. Because you can't tell me from J.J. Rowell to Charles Taylor, they all were wrong. Only you have the solution. So you see what we are talking about. Once they want the power, they don't want anybody else to have. And some of them even have the audacity that when they put in the law, they will say the law doesn't take effect until I leave the next administration because laws are not retrospective. You see how the politicians work? They will say, okay, we will abolish this, but my term will be the last term that I'm going to use this power. But after me, anybody else who comes cannot use this law. Can you see? This is what a legal luminary like Charles Walker Bronsky couldn't attack the problem of the powerful presidency in Liberia, where he is the judge, the juror, and the executioner. He or she can determine what happens to you. So this is where we are, Mr. Eastman.
Yeah.
Liberia is in the conundrum. Like you say, I know the folks, when you were in college, we talk about revolution. People think revolution is killing everybody and destroying the place. But we need a massive cultural intellectual revolution that they just did in Senegal.
Yeah.
They went, I mean, we are talking about complete flip from the old generation to Generation X and say, you know what, 40-year-old man, 44, 43, whatever your age is, you are at the peak of your thinking, the peak of your energy, the peak of everything. Now bring experienced people around you to take us into the future. So what did he do? He brought in the most seasoned politician that was of all the best. He made him the prime minister. You have the gravitas, you have the experience, you have the know-how. You can't help me. This is where you come in when you're talking about we need to bring in experience and quality people to run the government. This is what this young man has just done. Brought in quality folks to say, you know what, you have expertise in these things. Come help me, let's do it.
You know, I like that you brought that because I'm about to show you, bring it back home. He also went in rear march from the colonial masters, France.
Mm-hmm.
They have pointed out that the French have not been in their best interests.
Of course not.
And they have been exploiting them for years and years and years and years and continue to exploit them. This is the same thing Niger claim.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing
Mali.
Burkina Faso, Mali.
Mm-hmm.
So we see an about face from our Franco brothers and sisters from this colonial lead. Now, bringing it back home, the other day when they were discussing the War Crimes Court in the Senate, Senator Edwin Snow got up and lined out how Liberia has not gained from the USA, saying that looking at USA as our colonial masters. Even though I don't believe they rarely ever were our colonial masters at all. They always were hands off. But he tried to decry their involvement. That why now? Why are they part of the War Crimes Court? Is this good for us? Is it to appease them? So, what do you think? You think Edwin Snow went on that a revolutionary charade there when he was pointing out all these things?
You know, those who don't like Edwin Snow would say because they went after his father-in-law. But let's look at the fact. You cannot debunk the fact. If I think you and I have been watching the old video of President Tubman. President Tubman said, when I went to the United States, I needed a loan to build an executive mansion, to build the pavilion, to build all of these structures. He said we were running a country in thin roof houses around here. And I told them that we were better than this. We needed to build this. They told me no. He says, and I went beyond that and went somewhere else and got the money. He said, now we have the executive mansion, we have the pavilion, we have all of the infrastructure you're looking at. The United States said they didn't want us to do this. We're not talking about Charles Taylor. We're not talking about Ellen. We're talking about President Tubman.
Yeah, I remember that speech.
That's correct. So
he said he called these buildings shanties. He said he called them shanties.
The shanty places, that's correct. Think room houses, they want us to. We are president of a nation. We have our sections in thin room shanty houses. So the man is talking about historical facts. And to make matter worse, you have foreign agents in the walls of our Senate showing force. White folks, whether they're from the United States, but you saw them in the background they have sent text out that if you didn't support them, we will sanction you. We'll make sure you get sanctioned. That is a threat, direct threat, and that's a national security issue. So here we are. You have people, to make matter worse, they went and split the bill or the resolution that came from the House. The resolution that came from the House it was for the establishment of War and Economic Crime Court. But the Senate were maneuvered and manipulated. They split it in half and said this is going to be a war crime court. The economic piece will leave it with Liberians.
It'll be domestic.
Yeah, domestic. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in 2012, when she was asked why you have not prosecuted all these things that John Mulbah had brought, she says, we have prosecuted almost 10 or 15 of these cases, and the government lost every case domestically in this country. Our system is not strong enough. Everybody was acquitted based on what she said. The Supreme Court said lack of insufficient evidence. So everything we have done, we presented return check, transfer check, money transfer. We presented everything, and the court still find these people insufficient evidence. So what did she say? I prefer that I'm going to find them guilty. In the court of public opinion, we're going to have it hanging over them. Once John Mulbah or the GAC say this person stole 5 million or 2 million, we cannot take these people to court and win. We're going to have it hanging over them. So now we're back to square one. You not split the court. You split the court now into two.
Okay, well then that just kicking the camera. That doesn't attack the. You see, we've been talking something here, Mike. I mean, Jerome. We've been talking something here. If you have a problem with your system and it's broken, well, the solution is not to leave it broken.
Fix it.
So the solution is to go deep dive in it empirically and find out how you can fix it. Why all those people got away? What was wrong? Is it because the prosecution lacked the knowledge and how to prosecute a case? Was it because of the judicial system was compromised? So
all of the above. Not to cut you off, all of the above, because in 3 of the cases, the prosecuting arm that prosecuted the case never even showed up in the case. It never showed up.
Those are the people that need to be replaced. You see, we make excuses for our own negligence, and it doesn't matter what they do. The other day, today, the minister, I don't know the public world minister, but it was announcing all the different road projects and how they are getting funded. Well, China is going to do this. The World Bank is going to do this. U.S. Our European partners go all the different roads. Even if it's a 10-kilometer road, they will do this. And he went on and on how all the roads are going to be taken care of and built because now we have the funding from all these different people. I want to ask you, Jerome, if that were you. You say, well, my children will eat on Tuesday because the auntie will bring them food. On Wednesday, they will eat because my brother will bring them food. On Friday, my wife will be able to go to the doctor because her sister will lend her money to go. Wait, now you are completely dependent, on other people carrying your load. How would you feel as a man?
Well, this is, it's 2:30 here. It's time for us to go. But let me tell you this. This is why we were talking about dependent and independent. We got them. We interchangeably use those words. What is an independent country when your electricity, your water, your school, your salary, everything is being paid by someone, and then when when someone say your colonial master or your parent, because that's what we call them, and another man from another country can come and say this is the dirtiest country or the dirtiest city. Can you imagine a diplomat coming into a country and say this is the dirtiest city? But Mr. Eastman, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to see you
yes,
the next one around.
Thank you for coming. And
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, our show today has come to an end. But be back on Tuesday for another round of breaking news. Sorry, our reporter had to jump off, but we'll have more juicy news next week, Tuesday. Until then, we are all Liberians.
We are